Arizona Cardinals at the Cleveland Browns, the other premier game of the week. We have the only undefeated team left in the NFL in the Arizona Cardinals. We have the Cleveland Browns as 3-point home favorites in a total of 49.5 here. Steven, this is one of the games where I am super, super excited to watch. I don't know if I'm going to get any action down on this one. And listen, you guys know I am as bullish on the Cleveland Browns as any person on the face of the planet. I truly believe that this team, if healthy, if everything's rocking and rolling, has what it takes to really compete. That said, it's a mash unit right now. And as we record this on Thursday morning, it's very tough for me and try to figure out what iteration of this Cleveland Browns team we're going to get on the field. I mean, there's offensive line injuries. There's all kinds of defensive injuries. And we're talking about key players here. And I know a lot of people only really want to change their opinion on games if it affects a quarterback. But man, when you're talking the Browns, we're talking two different offensive linemen that might not be able to go. We're talking main contributors in the secondary. We're talking pass rushers, which is so important to a defense like this Cleveland Browns team because they're able to get stuff done with those bulls that they have up front on the defensive line. And so it is just very, very tough for me to feel super confident one way or the other right now, knowing what I know. Steven, what do you think about this game?
I agree with everything you just said. I mean, they have, on top of that, both of their running backs didn't practice on Wednesday. Jadeveon Clowney didn't practice. Myles Garrett didn't practice. So, I mean, a lot of key spots. The good positive is that their three cornerbacks at least got back on a limited basis on Wednesday. So that was positive. But there's also, I mean, this game to me, I was ready to fight you this week on this because I thought you were going to be all in on the Browns and I thought I was going to be all in on the Cardinals. But full disclosure, I bet Cardinals +3 on the look ahead. And given the advancements in the sports betting legalized world that we live in, they gave me the option to cash it out at my full stake. And I did, because there's some concerns here on the Arizona side too, both in terms of their actual team and also environment this week. There's some wind in the forecast in Cleveland, talking maybe 20+ mile an hour winds, which for this passing attack could be an issue. On top of that, Kyler Murray popped up on the injury report Wednesday with a right throwing shoulder injury, the same issue that kind of derailed their season in the second half a year ago. We don't know how severe it is. Could be nothing, but it could be something. So on top of that, their pass rusher, Chandler Jones, has hit the COVID list. Now, this is a team that's got 100% vaccination status, so there's still a small chance that if he gets 2 negative tests within 24 hours, that he could be cleared to play. But we don't know if that's going to be the case yet. So way too many question marks and unknowns on both sides of the ball here for me to make a bet. But if everything was healthy, I wish we would have gotten this because I'm high on Arizona for the rest of the season, maybe more than the rest of you, but just way too many unknowns for me to put money on this one.
Yeah, I'm a little bummed out as well that we're getting kind of a nicked up version of both of these teams, because I certainly would have liked to have seen what this matchup looked like if they were going at this thing both at least close to full strength. No team's going to be full strength at this point in the season, but at least close to full strength. Brad, again, we're sitting at a field goal right now. I'm getting, last thing I saw was they didn't think they were going to have Chandler Jones this week in this one for the Cardinals. And that's, obviously a big hit, but obviously the bigger hit being the Kyler Murray news that something's going on with his throwing shoulder. We saw this last year. He was awesome until he wasn't. And maybe I shouldn't be thinking back to last year. Maybe I should be able to think a little bit more clearly, but the memory is still very, very fresh in my mind of what this offense looked like after Kyler Murray got injured last year.
Yeah, I don't think you should forget it. That was the second half of their season was down the drain because Kyler was no longer Kyler, and suddenly you're relying on Cliff Kingsbury scheming it up, and they were not good. So I don't think you can bet Arizona in this game with that uncertainty. The other thing is Rodney Hudson out, who's been very good for them this year. He's also calling out all the blitzes and stuff with Kyler. Kyler's been raving about him all season, sort of how much he's helped him. So with that, Kyler injury, no center, heavy wins, then I can really see the Cardinals struggling to put up points here. Now, obviously, I've not bet the Browns yet because of all these injuries, because literally half the team's on the injury list. It does seem like a lot of them are trending towards playing. And if they are, if these key ones, if Clowney goes, if the corners go, obviously, I want to see what's going on the offensive line as well. Like, if these guys are generally playing, then I will bet the Browns -3 because I think there's a lot of things going against the Cardinals this week.
Yep, same with me. So I'm looking at so long as Thursday kind of comes out and looks the way that I and reading some more beat writer stuff. If it looks like it's going to be much better and a much more rosy picture for the Browns, then I also will take them at -3 in this game. One of the other injuries people aren't talking about that I think is a little bit bigger of an impact than just kind of under the radar type thing is Max Williams goes down for the Cardinals as well. And if you look, Kyler had been relying on Max Williams in a lot of high leverage situations. He had been using him when they needed to move the chains. He connected with him in weeks 2 to 4 on 15 of 15 targets, like was able to go 15 of 15 to him in weeks 2 to 4 before Williams had to leave the game with what ended up being a season-ending knee injury for him. And I don't think it's just something we should just sweep under the rug here, that a guy that he had been leaning on in high leverage and third down, move the chain type situations is now no longer going to be on the field for him as well. So I like the Cardinals, Stephen. I do. I like the Cardinals overall in general. That being said, just this version, these tough injuries, spot. Things going on. Yeah, it's just a real tough spot. And so I'm going to be looking to back the Browns. That being said, I'm going to see what the injury thing looks like here over the next 24 to 48 hours.
Matt, last question for you here. You and I both have Browns futures, and we are relying on this defense. And I found an interesting split here, so I want to get your opinion on it. This defense for the Browns, when they played Patrick Mahomes and Justin Herbert, allowed 6.5 and 7.2 yards per play, respectively. And then the other games against the Texans quarterbacks, Justin Fields and Kirk Cousins, they just dominated. And I'm curious if you think this defense is legitimately elite, or if you think that they are still prone to having issues when they actually play good offenses, which they're going to have to do down the stretch here.
Yeah, I mean, this past week was, I mean, they were literally at times half of the defensive players were off of the field. I mean, Myles Garrett, Jadeveon Clowney, Denzel Ward, Greedy Williams, who was backing up as it was anyway. Like there were literally 6 different guys that were going to be key contributors that were not on the field because they were either out for the game to begin with, or they got hurt during the game and were having to go in and out and things like that. So I don't take a lot from this past week, considering how nicked up they were and how badly they were injured. So I'm not really downgrading them all that much, but let's definitely keep an eye on them and let's definitely monitor them over the next couple of weeks and make sure that it's not something that might be a concern moving forward.